with this technique, you can become fluent in any language fast. This is how I became conversational in more than 20 languages. So pay attention because this is going to be a game changer. This is the language islands technique. Basically, what we're going to do is write down a list of sentences, a long, long list of sentences. First, we need another list, a list of situations, topics, and interactions. Basically, every possible interaction that you might have and every possible topic that you are going to talk about. Yeah, so start thinking about what you normally do, where you go, who you talk to, um, and for each one of those topics and conversations and situations, write down as much as you can. Everything you would say in that interaction. Yeah, from introducing yourself to talking about each one of your hobbies to work, problematic situation A, problematic situation B, trouble situation A, trouble situation B, etc. You prepare a list of sentences for each one of them. This is the part that's the most work because you have to come up with a lot of stuff. The good news is that the more you do this exercise and the more you actually try to then use the sentences in real life, the more you'll find where your blind spots were, because if you hadn't prepared for a specific conversation, you'll know instantly, and then you can go back home and prepare a language island specifically for that as well. But basically, I recommend you start with introducing yourself. Like, this is the beginning of my language islands. Yeah, hello, my name is Mikael. How are you doing? What's your name? Where you're from? Blah blah blah. And then from there to like, I'm from this place, and write 10 or 20 or 30 sentences about your hometown, your country, etc. And then 20, 30 sentences about your work, 20, 30 sentences about your family, your personal life, if you want to talk about that. At some point, you'll have to talk about that. So, yeah, also write about that. 20, 30 sentences about specific things, different stories as well, everything you normally talk about. So, it will require some serious uh, brainstorming, but trust me, it's worth it. You can also use ChatGPT to generate ideas for this. But I recommend using ChatGPT to enhance your language islands. But ultimately, you need to use your own words because otherwise it won't work all that well. You'll still learn sentences, but it's much better if you talk about your own stuff, right? Otherwise, you're having a robot do all the speaking for you. uh, ChatGPT doesn't know your experiences and doesn't know the exact way you normally talk. So it should be your own words translated into the language that you learn. Also, once you've got all this list, which is quite a lot of work, writing the whole thing, but once you've got the whole list, you can reuse it for every new language you're learning. Yeah. So now I want to learn Turkish, so I've got my whole list of thousands of words, and I just translated the whole thing. There'll be mistakes, yeah, translators are not 100% accurate, but it doesn't really matter, right? If you can speak a lot in whatever language it is, I think they'll be fine with you making some mistakes here and there. And also, if you listen to the language a lot, which I won't cover in this video, I won't cover that, but if you listen to the language a lot, you'll eventually learn the right grammar and and the right vocab, and you'll notice where the mistakes are in your language islands. You can also ask a native speaker to review it and correct it. So you write all your lists, yeah, starting from the basics, introducing yourself, small talk, da da da, to all the way to like everything you need to say at work, everything you need, unless you don't want to use this language at work, right? You can also use it if you're planning a trip. You can use this to only prepare the conversations you need on that trip. This is also very this is something people do a lot. A lot of my clients specifically use this for trips. If they travel into Greece, they learn everything they'll have to say in restaurants, taxis, in the street, with meeting people there, everything in Greek, the hotel, etc. I guess you could do it in English, yeah, but it's more fun to. If you're into languages, it's more fun to do it in the local language. And then when you go to Morocco, you learn to do it in Moroccan Arabic, and so on and so forth. So you use the same sentences for each place. But if you really want to be fluent, then you need to prepare everything. Yeah, not only like asking for the bill and that kind of stuff, but long conversations. You can do storytelling. Like, that time I was in Thailand and this and that happened to me, and I ended up in hospital. You can write the whole story and then translate it into the language, and now you can tell stories in the language. Yeah, the more you write, the better. And once you've got enough, then let's move on to. Let's assume you already wrote the thing. Yeah, you can always add more stuff to it as well, and you should. But let's assume you've already written your language islands. You've got your 1,000, 2,000 sentences, maybe more in the language prepared. It should be. I recommend you write an Excel a spreadsheet with this. So you've got English on one side and the translation on the other. Yeah, and you should do several exercises with it. The first one should be listening and repeating, because reading aloud works as well. Yeah, but listening and repeating is much better because we learn the proper pronunciation of the language. Yeah.
Günaydın.
Günaydın.
Günaydın.
Günaydın.
Günaydın.
Günaydın.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar.
Adın ne?
Adın ne?
Adın ne?
Adın ne?
Adın ne?
Adın ne?
Adın ne?
Adın ne?
Benim adım Mikel.
Benim adım Mikkel.
Benim adım Mikel.
Benim adım Mikkel.
Benim adım Mikel.
Benim adım Mikkel. Yeah, you listen and repeat all the sentences over and over again. You should do this every day. I recommend doing it in like 5 to 10 minute blocks, no more, and then you take a rest and do something else. Several times a day, you listen and repeat all the sentences. But the problem is remembering the words, because this Turkish is a completely different language, completely different grammar, vocabulary. Don't worry about grammar. You learn the grammar by just learning, memorizing the complete sentences. Yeah, yeah. So don't worry about the grammar at all. Worry about the vocab. So we'll use the associations. We'll have to memorize the vocabulary with associations. I've got lots of tutorials on how to do that. You take the word, find so
Günaydın.
good morning. So create a mental image for a visual for good morning, and then you find something that sounds like this.
Günaydın.
Yeah, you could break it up in two words as well. Find something in your language or in English that sounds like this, and you associate with the visualize it, and you associate it with the visualization, with the image, mental image you created for good morning, and that's it. And then you create with the for the next one.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar. And adın ne?
Adın ne?
Adın ne? Benim adım Mikkel, and so on. And you create these associations for everything. Sometimes you don't need it. Like merhaba sounds like Arabic, so I already definitely comes from Arabic. So if there are cognates are words that are the same in or similar in have the same root in different languages. English has a lot of cognates with Spanish and French, but much less with Turkish, almost nothing. So yeah, cognates you don't have to associate. Everything else, all they're known by
Oldum.
oldum. You need to associate them, memorize them. Yeah, so you create more and more associations. Also, this again, 5 to 10 minute blocks, and you create as many associations as possible. So you listen and repeat, and then you create associations for the vocab to remember the vocab more easily. And you should be doing over and over. You should be doing this over and over again. Remember when I said that you should, and I can't show it now, but you remember when I said you should put this in a word in a a two-column document, either a spreadsheet or Word document with two columns. That's the next exercise. Once you can remember the words pretty well, like you know the vocab from associating it and then reading it aloud over and over, no, reading it aloud, or preferably listening and repeating, yeah, over and over again. You go to the two-column document and looking at your language or the English, you so
Günaydın.
you read it in your language and you try to say it in the target language, and then you check and correct, yeah, self-correct. This is active recall. This way, this exercise will help you remember all the sentences, entire sentences, yeah. so
Benim adım Mikel.
so imagine I'm not looking at this here. So it's double two-column documents, and I'm like, my name is Mikkel. Benimadin Mikkel. Okay, I say it correctly. Yeah, so you should have it in two columns. Hide the target language column and do it like this. And you do that to train your mind to remember all the sentences. Again, do that in 5 to 10 minute blocks, and 5 to 10 minute blocks of listening and repeating. And keep adding sentences to the list. Yeah, I've been growing my list for ages. Yeah, more language islands, more different conversation topics, different stories. There's always more and more and more. Yeah, so you should have thousands of sentences in the end. And then you just do watch videos or listen to podcasts in the language for listening comprehension. Just doing this, you'll learn the grammar pretty well because there are thousands of sentences, and you learn a lot of grammar in context, a lot of vocab as well here in context. All the useful vocab, you learn it here. So when you're doing your listening, you'll understand a decent amount once you've memorized a lot of vocabulary and a lot of sentences with this. But you'll need to do a lot of listening as well, because the moment they use words that are not included in your sentences, you struggle to understand, right? So yeah, doing a lot of listening is always important. But the main thing is language islands. Again, two columns, long TLDR. Two columns, all your sentences about every possible topic on one side, translation in the target language on the other side, create an audio file, listen and repeat sentences over and over and over again, memorize the vocabulary with associations, and then active recall. Yeah, read the sentences in your language, repeat them aloud in the language that you say them aloud translate them into the language that you're learning, and then self-correct. And you keep repeating the sentences aloud and translating into the language that you learn. And with these two exercises, you're working on your pronunciation and your spoken fluency, and also your ability to think in the language. And this will be enough to carry you through any possible conversation, as long as you prepare your list well. Yeah, if your lists are bad, then obviously you won't do well. But if your lists are comprehensive, there's a lot of content there, a lot of useful sentences, you'll do well in any conversation. And that's it. So now, yeah, let's go prepare more sentences, memorize them, and become conversational in more languages.